Hello Pisces, and welcome or welcome back to my body and heart tower therapy. A little bit late this month, but yeah, life happens. I'm here to the reading for March 2020 for Pisces Sun. Oh, the sun came out. For Pisces Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. The sun is in Pisces right now, so happy birthday, Pisces. Hope you're doing well. We also have Mercury in retrograde up until the 20. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Sorry. But yeah, we still have Mercury in retrograde in Pisces. Okay, so this is your challenge position, the Five of Wands. And that's an interesting retrograde to have. The Lovers as your focus. All right. Seems like the reading just wants to start, so I'm going to stop rambling about the stars. 8 of Wands as your advice. And then let's see what's in your future position. 7 of Cups as your future position. And now the underlying energy is the Ace of Swords. This is kind of the theme of your reading. Not kind of, the theme of your reading. All right, my darlings. I'm going to pull out some clarifiers. I'm going to use the same deck this month. Feel, okay, the Judgment with the Sun as your current energy. The Devil with the Five of Wands as your challenge. The Emperor with the Lovers as your focus. A lot of major arcana. 9 of Swords with the 8 of Wands as your advice, sorry. And Justice with the 7 of Cups as your future energy. All right. And this one showed up when I was pre-shuffling before starting the video. Chariot with the Ace of Swords as your theme. So I really think it's a strong theme given that it showed up again and it showed up in your underlying position. So Ace of Swords with the Chariot, my darlings. For Pisces season and for March in general, we're entering Aries soon enough. And also we have an important shift. What was it? Oh yeah. I think Saturn is moving in Aquarius on the 22nd. And that will be a very interesting shift for everybody, but it's just moving for a few months. It's not going to stay there. I think it's just 3 months, and then it's going to come back in Capricorn and spend 6 more months in Capricorn until it moves for good in Aquarius. And Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, but is also co-ruler of Aquarius along with Uranus. And that's a very different taste of Saturn. We've been having Saturn in Capricorn for the past a year and a half, I think. He shifts only like every 2 years or so. And that's just going to give it, a little bit of a taste of how that feels to have the Saturn in Aquarius. And the focus shifts is from just rules and regulations and, the strict father and the survival mode that we get in Capricorn. Having Saturn in Aquarius, it may be like, okay, now let's see what are the rules and regulations that we need to change, that we need to break, that we need to change the paradigm in a sense, So yeah, let's see how this is going to play out for you. I'm not going to go talk too much about this. The Ace of Swords with the Chariot is the underlying energy. So it seems that this month you're going to get a lot of clarity, my dear Pisces, and it might be very necessary because, I see that there's a lot of confusion and a lot going on here actually this month. So knowing that this happens in the name of clarity and the name of moving forward. Chariot does talk about moving forward, talks about the hero's journey. Here you go. You've learned the lessons that you need to learn in the safety of your castle. And now you're going out there. You're going out there because you have the resources and you had learned the lessons of both the dark and the light. And with the Ace of Swords, I think you'll be driven by a new idea, by a new insight, by a new inspiration, that it's a liquor of light that comes into your, yeah, maybe a confused time, or after a confused time. So pay attention to what's going on in this month, because it seems to be able to propel you forward. There are obvious lessons happening here, and it's just going to bring up crisp, clear clarity for you. What are the themes? So, current energy, you have the Sun and Judgment. First of all, there's nudity in both these cards, and that tells me that you are open to receive. You're open to receive the messages from the divine right now. With the Judgment, you have an angel here that's like having this trumpet and a flag. He's obviously delivering a strong message. Angels in general, and you've got another one right here. It talks about delivering messages of the divine in tarot. And the flag has to do also with messages. So yeah, I think that you may be receiving a lot of messages this month, whether through tarot, whether through direct experience, whether just that type of knowing that the Ace of Swords kind of feels like, things are happening and you just have that deep insight that you know why this is happening, or what is it that you're working with, or kind of the underlying issues of the events that are going on, because everything that happens, and with Judgment here tells me that this is all karmic. You and in your soul journey, you've decided to learn some very particular lessons, and you came into this world and prepared to do that, having, I don't know, choosing the family that you chose and the life experience that you had, whether you enjoyed them a lot or not. This is something that you chose to experience in order to graduate from certain lessons. And I think that now you'll finally see, because Judgment talks about like really stepping up and stepping back and really take a very serious assessment of where you're at in your soul journey. And that's how you get yourself become open to these messages of from your soul, from your spirit, because it gives you a calming effect, and it puts you in this position of the Sun, where you're open, where you can be playful, where you can allow yourself to reveal more of yourself, to show up more fully and innocently, like this kid does here with in Sun card. I think this is the main message here. You are open to receive messages. You are undergoing a very important karmic lesson, and I think that it takes you to, you know exactly what this is about, the Ace of Swords here as your underlying energy. So quiet your mind, because your mind may be freaking out. Sometimes these karmic lessons that come with the Judgment aren't particularly fun, but you apparently can keep this light heart now with the Sun here, because you're so open to receive, because maybe you've been fed up for so long with certain patterns and things that keep repeating, because that's how lessons come into our lives. They keep repeating themselves until we get them. And there's a psychological explanation for that as well, that for example, when we undergo certain trauma, we tend to repeat that particular environment because our brain is trying to find closure, right? It's trying to find a different ending. So it thinks that it will, if I just repeat the circumstance with different people, somehow it will, if it ends differently this time, it will solve all the past issues. But it's not just that. That's just one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that we repeat our early environment because that's what's familiar, and we just don't really, we prefer familiar even if it's shitty to the unknown, because that's scary. But however way you want to look at it, with this judgment here and the sun, it is a karmic issue that you're undergoing right now. You are ready, you're open, and I think you're passing with flying colors. And you're definitely gonna get ready after this month to move forward. This is a process of moving forward. Challenging seems to be the Five of Wands with the Devil. Five of Wands is it can be just friendly competition, but it can also be strife and being just competitive. And with the Devil, it may be that you're competitive in a loving relationship. So you have both the Devil and the Lovers here, and these are mirror cards. So this is like 15, 5 plus 1 is 6, and this is number 6. And you have these two lovers here like being overseen by this angel. Again, nudity. Again, being open to receive, in this case, messages of love and connection and, the fruits of love. And here, if the Devil is just about chains of codependency and what holds us back, that's your focus. They're going to get there. And the Five of Wands and the Devil here, it may be that in a relationship, whether it's a loving relationship or like a romantic love, or that another type of love, such as family love or whatever, you may show up in like you would show up in a competition. You may be competing with your partner, you may be competing with your sibling, you may be competing with your best friend, but not in a healthy way. That may come simply from a feeling of I need to prove myself, or I see something in you that I want to have for myself. And yeah, I don't know exactly how to explain this. I can just give you an example. For example, back in the past, I had a partner and we're both architects, and we were, I don't know, studying together, and he was really good. He had really good ideas. I wasn't that about myself, but I always felt like he was better than me. And that was both inspiring, but also I was feeling a little bit sometimes like wanting to compete with him, and that wasn't particularly healthy. I don't know if he was in the same position, or he was just like sometimes feeling good that maybe he sensed that I was looking up to him in this sense, but it was definitely not bringing a healthy dynamics there. Competing with our partner. Inspired is good when we feel like, okay, I feel inspired by this person. It's nice to look at the things that they do and feel like I can take some of that into my world and just use it as guidance, but not in that place of competition. Okay, and if it is in that place of competition, what can we do is to see it, right? First of all, to see that it's happening, and to really admit it to ourselves at least. Like, okay, yes, I'm there, I'm doing that, I'm in that place of competition for whatever reason. I find myself in this competing position with my partner and with my, it depends on what kind of loving relationship you find yourself in right now. And maybe first things first is to say yes, that this is happening. And with the focus here of the Lovers and the Emperor, I mean, it's really important to shift back from this like competition and place of insecurity, and where we feel that we're lacking and we need to prove ourselves and we need to be better than, more than this type of stuff, because we actually, when we come up in this way, it's because we don't feel good enough, and we need to prove it to ourselves that we're good enough. And then when we kind of using the other people as pawns into our little inner war. But with the Lovers and the Emperor as your focus, I think that if you simply shift your focus from lack to actually what I'm looking for in this person, what I like in this person, what I'm attracted in this person is present within me. It really is. We think it isn't, but it is. We think we're lacking those characters. That's why we're attracted to those characters in others. But we're actually having it for ourselves. We just don't really know how to tap into it. And I think with the lovers, it's really important to shift from fear and from lack to love. Remember why you love this person. Remember why this person is important to you and how you feel inspired by this person. And when you see again this competitive side of you coming out, just so you know, this is kind of how this particular lesson seems to be playing out. So don't think too much about this. This is not like, oh my god, makes me a good person, a bad person, or somebody who's like, why would I do that? Don't analyze it too much. This is part of your karmic lesson, and it's something that you've been willing to go through, and you have now the opportunity to close that chapter, right? Anyhow, shifting your focus into love. That means that whenever, like, and with the emperor here, with he's like the loving father of the whole empire. He's like the overseer of the whole inner world, and he's the one making the rules, and he's the one that is providing for the whole empire, right? So he's the ruler, and he can be domineering, or he can be really just the right amount of rules and structure. This is Aries energy, but like with this whole Saturn talk earlier, I kind of see it a little bit like that fatherly figure that needs to provide for yourself, for your needs, right? And with the lovers and the emperor as your focus, I think like, yeah, you need to look at what are your needs and to provide for them, and to provide that from the position of this maybe paternal love for some reason. Maybe it's about the masculine energy within you that can take a father figure. Maybe this shows up, maybe it was competition between siblings or something like that, and you perceive like whatever relationship you have afterwards as this type of competing for the father's love, or for attention in that sense. And the thing is that you do have it within your power now, because you're learning all this lesson, and you've with the chariot here, you've got what it takes to do it now. You have the ability now to give that type of love to yourself, to identify if the part of me that feels this way, and not deny, not telling that it's good or it's bad. I was like, okay, yes, part of me that feels less than, or that it needs to compete, or that it needs attention. I want to give you that attention. I am here for you. We are not in that position anymore. We are adults now, and you can relate to this part of you from the position of the loving father and the provider, and the power position, and be the father figure that you didn't have, or that you wanted to have, or give yourself the resolution that you needed back then and you didn't get, and do so from a very loving position, and focus what you added, not with your partner, or with your this partner in crime, whatever type of partner this is. You can simply you can allow for some vulnerability here. I think that communication generally is really important, and this is your advice. Communication. If the Eight of Wands talks about these particular messages we are talking about, and communication as well. Like, you're getting your insights quick, and you're able to communicate them with and this is like spiritual type of insights. It's not just that your mind is kind of making sense out of things, your earthly mind, your ego mind, but it's more like actually getting really, really serious downloads about this maybe the spiritual significance of all these, and how how you can take this into your heart journey, or journey back to your heart. The Nine of Swords, yeah, your mind may freak out at all this. We always have resistance whenever we have this type of karmic journeys, and we're going and we're facing, um yeah, we're facing the lessons that the soul wanted to have. We can may feel maybe intense, and we feel challenged, and we feel we don't really like it, especially the mind. The mind wants to grow. This is a number 9, so it's close to the end of a cycle of the mind. The mind needs to come at it all this like grand concepts of unconditional love, and the mind also starts to like really maybe freaking out at the idea that we have much more power than we think we have, that we can really provide for ourselves and for our needs, because we're not being taught that in our daily life and in our society. We're being told that we are supposed to be better than and less than. It's good to always have someone to look down to and someone to look up to, and that's kind of how based on that, it's how fucking all this society works. You need more shiny shoes, or more, you're not pretty enough, take some creams, take some makeup, take some that, and you as a gentleman, you're not good enough on your own, have this fancy car next to you can attract enough ladies. And like if you look at the life of all the very successful, say, I don't know, actors or whatever you consider to be successful people, famous people, they tend to have the biggest drug problems and divorce rate and scandals and so on, because you feel like you have everything but you can't get enough, because that's how this works. It's based on just craving and attachment, and it all plays out from the idea that you're not good enough and you need to improve yourself somehow. But when we learn that we are good enough actually, and we don't really need to anything to get the love that we want, or to feel that we are worthy or whole, then it kind of like falls apart, this whole societal system. Well, this is a very superficial conversation. Like this is like a very short dip into that whole thing. It's not what all societies had been around about, but yeah, it's just a quick thing, just to explain kind of how the mind freaks out, because we're getting all this information and we're like, no, this just doesn't make any sense. If it's that easy, or if it's that direct, or if it's that straightforward, why am I suffering this much? And that's a decent question for the mind to ask. I mean, it makes sense. But you're thinking that now you're able to embody a higher knowledge and understanding, and you're in the position to stay with your mind, stay present with your mind freaking out here. Nine of Swords talks about, well, yeah, anxiety. It's just anxiety and fear. And it's usually fear for the future based on past events. Sorry. Okay. Cheers to you, Andrea. All right, so the Eight of Wands, you're getting the information that you need. This is like coming from high somewhere. See, these ones come from somewhere up and they're going down, so they're downloads. You are obviously open to receive, and I'm glad you are, because this is a tough situation to be in, and it requires us to really look at ourselves and look into the shadow part here with the devil, and do so with kindness. And when our mind freaks out with all this information, we can be patient with that as well, and be sort of really, no, it's really just patience. That's all it takes. because we're not our mind, and we're not our emotions, and we're not our bodies. We are way more than all that. And I'm sure that you know this by now based on these cards here. So whenever you see your mind completely freaking out, or when you see yourself acting in a certain way that is not necessarily coming from the most loving place, you can be patient with yourself. Okay, so this is taking you to the Seven of Cups and the Justice card as a future energy. And Seven of Cups, I think that, yeah, no, this is definitely going to bring up this whole, there are two things that come to mind now. One of them, for some reason, is altered states of consciousness. So it's actually possible with all this openness that you may be opening up voluntarily, or you're just like in that state. 1, 2, 3, full cards where I see nudity and opened and messages and so on. As you're so open, you may feel like you enter in a different state of consciousness, and in that altered state of consciousness, hopefully not drug induced, but it can really just happen naturally sometimes through our meditation practice, or through certain types of kind of how we're receiving all this. You may get even more clarity with justice here. See, the columns symbolize communicate, like again, communication with the divinity, connection with the divinity. She stays on a throne here, so she's supported, and she stands for obviously justice, balancing out the scales. And this is also a very karmic card. So I think that, yeah, you're balancing out your scales, you're learning the lessons that you want to learn, and it may happen in this like a little bit weird and fuzzy emotional space. You do seem to get the mental clarity that you want, so that's good. I think that if this is the case for you, if you're gonna feel a little bit like with this altered state of consciousness, it will come with a lot of clarity. It's not gonna be one of those where you just feel lost, and that's where you're getting. Maybe you get to really have a deep conversation with your soul. It may happen for the way you feel. So taste into your emotions. So this person here, he's got so many cups, and he doesn't really know what to choose, and it's confusing. But he can feel his way through the cup that's good for him. He doesn't need to choose anything. He needs to just like tap into his emotional state, and he will know exactly which cup is to choose. So yeah, I think it's also taking stock of your emotions and feeling into them and getting but it's that thing where we feel what we need to feel, and we release by feeling. And we release this emotional baggage by just like taking from that baggage each and every emotion, and really feeling into it. And that's kind of how we let it go, without attaching any story to it, without allowing the mind to freak out. And then we kind of choose the one that feels good for us. What does that mean? Like, what does it mean I'm choosing the emotion that feels good for me? It means that some of this emotional baggage that we're carrying is been there for ages. It may not be so self-actual. It may come from this like shadow part, from childhood, from weird dynamics, maybe even a past life. Maybe you've been going through this for many lifetimes, given so much karmic energy and major arcana. So basically, the thing is that you will start realizing, okay, where am I at right now, really? What works for me? What kind of like story am I? Because our minds work in stories. We need stories. Everything is a story. What I'm telling you right now is a story. What story better fits where I'm at right now, and how to own my narrative, and that would simply feel good for you. Good doesn't necessarily mean happy, happy, joy, joy all the time. It just means like it makes perfect sense because you take ownership of it. Okay, I'm gonna take a Rumi card for you. Let's see. What's the guidance from the heart? Star Mother Arrakis. I'm gonna read for you a little bit. This is 23. Alright, so the poem from Rumi for this card says, be the king who has made his own kingdom. Look at this emperor in your focus position. Be the moon that has made her own summit. How much longer will you cuckoo like a pigeon? Empty your head of all the mortal lusts and become life without breath. You will not call out for God anymore, for you have become immersed in God. Okay. Okay, so I'm not gonna read through all this because that's a bit too much. But okay, so here is your guidance. Lay down your old weapons, for new technology awaits you. It is the most lay down these weapons. It is the most magnificent of forces, that of divine alignment, of surrender to the Star Mother and her way of luminous potency. From her great vantage point, the vastest problems of your earthly mindsets are merely in a need for a quick whipping by the tail of a comet. And this she easily achieves by flicking a strand of her hair or poking out her tongue. Sometimes I find difficult to follow these personifications, but it's fine. I mean, take the message that works for you. So, in the hands of a greater being, even your deepest trials will succumb to the divine victory. Your ability to take the journey will be strengthened, and your success only a matter of the passing of time. Can you give yourself this gift, this blessing of the love, power, and protection of your star heritage? We all descend from the stars, but some of us are asked to remember to acknowledge the divine parentage from which we come, and to allow the innate divine dignity within to restore us to faith in the path here on earth. No matter how dark life on earth may seem at times, when we remember our holy heritage, we can also realize, oh yes, I am blessed, held as one with the Mother, who shall not be deterred from great holy purpose. I shall prevail. I forgot that and feared, but now I remember, and I am determined one. Be inclined to dance, to sing, to make your art, and to live fearlessly once again. I don't usually read the rituals that this booklet provides, but I think I'm going to read it now. Do so only if you feel comfortable with it. So open your hands up above your head and say, through unconditional love and divine mercy, through the blessing of ancient masters and sages, including Brother Rumi, who loves without condition, I call upon the blessings of the stars, the remembrance of my divine heritage, and the gift of spiritual success. I call upon the assurance of my soul's triumph and the luminous embrace of the Holy Mother. I honor my soul's need for art and for expression and for creativity now, from a pure and loving place within me. So be it. That I sometimes do these rituals, and it just feels good for the moment. And with the fear that you're holding now, it may be really good to do things that soothe you, so you can stay open for all this message, so you can stay present with yourself for all this process. I think it's a great journey, actually, if you look at where is this taking you and what you're resolving now in your life. So well done there, Pisces. I wish you have actually you have the sun right in your starting position, so I think you're able to take this rather lightly and to be truly open. Yeah. Fantastic. Happy birthday again, Pisces. I hope you are really enjoying this process. And yeah, I'll see you here soon. Have a great, great month. Oh yeah, and if you resonate with this reading, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow, so it can reach more people that are in need of these messages. Much love.